Hello, good evening. Shanks has got the phone out. I don't know what he's up to. It's round 17 in URC Unloaded. I'm going to start the show by apologising on behalf of the last show. It was a shambles, and there was a number of reasons for it. Stevie was 25 minutes late. I had no sound. Matt Sherritt came on with no sound, and we could see half his body. We all work in media.
Oh, he's gone.
He's gone. He's gone. He's gone. He's gone.
Don't tell him. God, Steve, and I'm going to apologise in advance.
Oh, you're back, John. You're back.
Lad. I don't know what's
going on. John.
I'm back.
We've got you already.
John.
Got you already.
John, you can't slag me and Shanks, you can't slag me like I don't know how long my mum's got left. You know, she's pushing on a bit now. When she calls around, I have to spend time with her. So don't go down that route. You know,
mate, you were painting your daughter's nails.
Family first. It's not what they say.
I tell you what, internet first. That should be your motto, John. You got more money than all of us put together.
No, you good lads. I said it before. I've been on calls all day. Not one issue. So I don't know what it is about this particular thing.
Is your sauna linked up to Wi-Fi or something? Is that why it's draining it?
There's a reel coming later, lads. You can enjoy this. I deliberately didn't post it before we came here.
Are you like Wilson? Are you like Wilson, JB? That you have your own cameraman, or do you actually do it yourself?
No, mate. Wilson. Do you see what Wilson did this week? Three rounds of golf in a day. Wilson did 3 rounds of golf.
Yeah, I've seen that.
To get his handicap.
What's his handicap going to be? What's it going to be? What do you reckon? 20?
No, it will start off lower than he probably wants it to on the app. Okay. So he shot 96, 85, and 84 or something. So on a 70. So I think he'll end up at 16 or something.
Okay. And what is he really?
18.
What is he around Glen Eagles, big course?
Do you know what? We played the PGA and he was probably 20 over on the front 9, and then on the back 9 was 4 over. So he can go.
He's got a bit of game.
He's got a bit of game.
Play with me. It would annoy me that.
I just look at
balls all the time. You walk up. Be the type of person to walk up to your ball and you've hit it 300 yards straight. And he goes, "Is that mine?" No. You're back 100 yards in the trees.
I tell you, mate, he's actually easy to play because if his ball's gone, he ain't looking for it. He's not one of them guys spending 25 minutes looking at the balls. Anyway, lads,
he doesn't hit Pro V1s then.
He'll play the Slazengers, mate. Slazengers will do top flights. Doesn't have a clue. Lads, how are you all? Everyone good, I hope, before we dive into games?
Stevie, where are you, mate? You're in Benetton. Stevie.
Stevie's topless for the show, first time ever as well.
Well, I had a bit of a rough day. Today.
We don't know.
Had a bit of work in the morning. This morning, John, you know how many hours I work for insurance. So I had a few hours of that this morning. Hit the gym, and then I had to take my daughter for her injections. So there was a little bit of crying there, but fair play to her. She was great. And then straight to the back garden, catch a few rays, and did a little bit of prep for tonight's show. So it's been a good day.
A few Maddie rays, did you?
Stevie.
He couldn't catch anything.
No, Stevie. I love that that's your version of a hard day, mate. A couple hours work, mate. You got no idea.
That's people grafting 16 hours, Stevie.
Mate, I've been at this computer all day, just to put it in perspective. Lads, let's get into round 17. Penultimate round, and we will start with your favourite team, Stevie, Ulster. Peter O'Mahony's last game at home, and how was it?
John, it was half decent viewing because both teams didn't really play that well. Excuse me, especially in the first half. The tackling wasn't great. Both defenses weren't really at it. The ruck was a bit of a shambles on both sides. Both teams scoring at will. But Munster certainly had a bit more emotion, had a bit more grit, and obviously showed that in the second half. The worrying thing for Ulster, as you can see in that clip there. Like the defence is all over the shop. 3 guys corner flagging on Peter O'Mahony, and he sort of just does a little swivel, right foot step, and he could have scored it himself, but popped the ball off to Tom Farrell, who was excellent on the day and man of the match, and has definitely put his hand up for the summer tour for Ireland. But like Ulster have it in them. Like they've shown against the Sharks in the first week or the first half, play some really good rugby. But once they come under the pump, once they get, the other side gets a bit of physical dominance, they just really go into their shells. It didn't help. Young Jack Murphy didn't have a great game either. And Munster took full advantage in the second half. And I don't know what you guys' thoughts are, but like to not score a point in the second half at home against the Sharks, and then again in the second half against Munster, like there's definitely demons going around in the boys' heads, like after they run out from the sheds in the second half.
I mean, this is going to sound hard. It doesn't really surprise me with Ulster. Like they blow so hot and cold week to week, and even within games, you don't know what half you're going to get out of them. Like you saw it, you saw it last year, and that was one of the first games of the season where they were, terrible against Glasgow in the first half. Then they come back and win. That's obviously that's a better story. But yeah, I don't know. I'm curious. We'll get on to how they'll finish. But obviously, away to Edinburgh to see whether they just down tools. Because they're sitting in 12th at the moment, and that's whenever I think of Ulster, I wouldn't ever.
They haven't got enough points to get to the top 8 now, so their season's over. So that I'd imagine they'd be quite happy because the season's been so up and down. Probably part of them in the back of their mind thinks, well, that's not been great. We don't have to do the playoffs now. We can have a long break, a long pre-season, hopefully start again fresh.
Met a guy there. Sorry, John. I met on ahead.
I was going to say, any sign of any signings?
No is the answer. I don't believe. Obviously, there's
Augustus.
Giorno Augustus from Northampton. I know I cracked a bit of a joke in studio about like going from a Champions Cup final to playing in the Challenge Cup the following year. Like it's not ideal from his perspective, but that's where Ulster are at the minute. In terms of other signings, like geez, if you don't have your deals done, John, at this stage, and now you're in the lower half of the table, you're sort of making up the numbers down there, and you're now in the Challenge Cup. It's hardly a really appetizing position for Ulster to be in to get some big signings. The only way that you do that, as you lads know, is to throw money at it. And unfortunately, Ulster don't have that money or have the budgets. That's all we've talked about over the last couple of seasons is how Ulster have been reining that in after Johnny Petrie and Dan McFarlane. So it's a test in time for the boys. And a guy shared across the road to me the other day. He says, I can't wait until 9:30 on Friday night. I says, why is that? And he says, because then the season's over. And that's that's the way the supporters are now thinking. That just after that second half against Munster, they just went, as you say, Shanks, just down tools. That's it. And forget about it. Try and get a good pre-season and kick on. But next year is going to be a big year for them with all the coaching staff in place.
Yeah. What about number 10 next season, Stevie? Who do you think should dominate that position? Do you think it should be Jack Murphy?
It's hard to say. Like defensively, he's
that's a big piece missing from the jigsaw. That is,
it is.
Agreed.
You've got wicked backs. It's just not.
Morgan was signed from the Hurricanes, was it? And given like 10 starts in a row, and I think he actually started Shanks in the game against Cardiff away when Ulster were leading 19-3 at halftime and lost the game. And since that point, Jack sort of has come in. I think Jack's kicking game is very good. Yes, he get charged down at the weekend, but his place kicking is, I think it's 95 or 96% in the league. Very good. Can he get the team going forward? McCluskey couldn't really get any go forward. Postleway couldn't get any go forward. Stockdale looked like a shadow of himself playing on the wing from when he played at fullback, 2 weeks prior against the Sharks. But I need to sign a huge second row. Like if you had a back row of Cormac Izachukwu, Nick Timoney, and Giorno Augustus, you had a fully fit Ian Henderson with plenty of minutes under his belt, and then a huge second row with pedigree. It would go a long way to getting your foothold in games, but I'm just not sure if they're going to be able to invest in something like that, lads.
Big if. Right, we'll move on, Stevie. And I did this game, Benetton, Glasgow.
Oh, John, this was ugly.
What What a result, lads.
The mood in the studio looked horrific.
Well, Wilson was hungover, so he was speaking at some dinner the day before. Got in about 4 a.m. Mate, Glasgow was so bad.
So I reckon that's worse than the Leinster game. Said it.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. At least they try.
Basic mistakes everywhere, John.
Yeah, dropping the ball, zero continuity.
Some of the worst kicking I've seen. Just pointless kicking.
The defense as well, Shanks. Like they just seemed like, I don't know. It looked like a good atmosphere. It was warm. Big full stadium, but they were just so bad, so off the boil. Benetton, for me, showed up with just like way more emotion, which is bizarre given where Glasgow are. Glasgow are probably going to finish the season in 4th now. And then we were chatting about it. Are they going to have to go away to Leinster in a semi-final, which I don't necessarily know if that's a good or bad thing, because you'd have to obviously travel to South Africa. But Benetton were good, like scored. The backline was good. Umang was great, got them going. But it was as close to a non-contest as I've seen against Glasgow in the league. We saw it against Leinster in the Champions Cup. So the rumor is that Sione Tuipulotu's back. Hugh Jones played, but if you could have put anyone there, it wouldn't have made any difference. You couldn't get any kind of quick ball, any dominance up front. So they're missing a load of guys still, which is the problem.
Jack Dempsey for me, John, has been a massive loss because I really rate him highly. I think there was a potential that, especially now that Caelan Doris is out there, he could have been a lion.
Yeah, and I think again, it's like for me, it's you look at that team that won the league, and you're missing Xander Fergus and George Turner, who left. Max Williamson, who's been out for a lot. Scott Cummins just come back. Richie Gray's gone. Rory, Matt Ferguson, Jack Dempsey, Sione Tuipulotu, Josh Mackay. You're like, that's not the same team, and it doesn't look like the same team at the minute. So the good news is, I think a lot of those guys are going to be fit for. I know Tuipulotu is going to play this week, from what I've heard, against Leinster. We glossed over the lines. We'll maybe touch on that at the end of the show. So a bit of work to be done for Glasgow.
I did listen to you after the show, and you're right in a way. There's not massive need to panic straight away. It would really massively help if you had a home semi-final, just because the route is easier. But they did it the hard way last year. And when they do get their players back, they are a totally different team. Even their starters, John, were really poor. And normally that's one thing you'd say Glasgow are amazing at. Set piece starters, the back line, the movement. It was just, I don't know, they had an off day, but they've still had a pretty decent season. So I think we could judge them in a couple of weeks.
I think you're right, Sean. I think Franco Smith, that's kind of the narrative he's saying. It's like, we did it last year this way. We'll do it again. On to the other Scottish team. Edinburgh put in it was a pretty poor game against Connacht. I don't know if you saw that. It wasn't great. Neither team were great. There was almost no running rugby, considering conditions were just like immaculate. No wind, dry ball, firm ground. Yeah, just loads. Just a pretty average game. So Edinburgh defended pretty well in the closing stages. Connacht came back into it, and then it was just like we said actually in the studio, it's just going to be one moment of brilliance, and then it came of all people. Guy Charlie Shield, who's been around all the time. Mate, how good! His try at the end was ridiculous.
You know what was really good there, John, is that there's this. You could easily pick that ball up with your feet in front of it, but he does the right thing, picks his feet behind the ball when he picks it up, because you don't want to score a try like that and then realize, oh shit, I'm in front of the ball, no try. Yeah,
no, he's good. I like. He was there when I was there. Good young kid, and under Cockers just completely fell apart. And had got no game time. So I think he'll get a lot more game time next year with Ali Price leaving to Montpellier. So. You saw from the tries, ridiculously quick, great service on him. Just hasn't had much game time. So Edinburgh have given themselves a bit of a chance, obviously.
Definitely a chance, mate. That's huge.
Huge
they win against Ulster, they're in. They're in the playoffs.
Well, but you look at the
results. Munster and Benetton are going to play each other. Yeah. Scarlets, I'm not sure if they got the Storm.
Scarlets have got Bulls, I think. Let me tell you now. Scarlets have got the Sharks.
Okay, the Sharks. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll get to the predictions for that. Yeah. So Edinburgh giving themselves, they're in 10th at the minute. on 44, and yeah, it looks like a win will do it. They're going to have to win against Ulster.
Lads, it's ridiculous because 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, I was thinking that like maybe 45 points would have got you into the top 8.
Yeah,
just
46,
with the way
definitely.
45, 46 points would have got you in. And just with the way results have went over the last 2 weeks, it's frightening now that teams are starting to panic. Even there's, I was sort of thinking, Edinburgh could maybe, get a couple of points out of this game against Connacht and then beat Ulster at home and still qualify. But they had to win that game the way all the results have fallen. So, yeah, Connacht were disappointing, lads.
Well, it was Matt
again.
I thought after Cardiff had beaten Munster 46 points, I thought that might be enough. That'd probably be enough to get in the top 8. Now, don't think they're going to do it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't help. It doesn't help, when they got to finish the tour in South Africa and they played the Bulls. And boys, 38-0 half time. It was just one-way traffic. I mean, the Bulls were just like the Bulls, physical, big carries, got their shoulders through the tackles way too easy. And then when it was on, I thought Kane and Moody looked electric, finished off a couple of tries. They had a couple of really nice tries from kick return as well. One was in the first half down the right-hand side. Moody ends up flicking the ball back, I think, challenges to kick it. Villy LaRue rolling back the years again. And he was one of the reasons why I think maybe the Bulls didn't win last year, because in the semi-final he was awesome. He wasn't available for the final and he looked awesome. Sebastian Leclerc on the wing, rapid, finish off a try, really good. I thought they looked sharp in attack, especially from set piece. Their set piece looked good really all the way through that game. And I mean, they took their foot off the gas a bit. They were so far ahead and Cardiff came back and scored 3 tries and they created a really nice one. It was a good set piece off the lineup. Hamer Webb has had a really good end to the season, boys. He scored a lot of tries and he's looked really dangerous all the way through, and they shoot back to the left-hand side and Alex Mann finishes off in the corner. I just think maybe there was a chance for Cardiff to get a 4th try, which might have been a difference in qualifying or not. We won't know till the end, but that would have taken them to 47 points. But I mean, the Bulls were good. They are peaking just at the right time for me.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one for Cardiff. Can you hear me, lads? Just double checking.
Yeah. You're in.
Good, I'm just checking. Shanks, speak to me about we move on to the Scarlets game. So impressed with Scarlets, the running they've had, with the way they've played. I think they look the fittest team in Wales. I think they look the best coached, most organised.
Yep. Yeah, I messaged Dwayne Peel. I can't remember when. I can't remember what it might have been, maybe Ulster when they lost. And I just said, look, your team looked really fit. And they did. I thought they started big, which has not always been the case through a lot of this season. I think when you go to a team like the Lions, you sort of have to start big. I think the Lions have been quite disappointing over the last couple of weeks in the end to their season, because there's a really good chance, I thought, that it could be challenging for the top 8. But Blair Murray was player of the match, looked really good. There was a good line-out drive. Creel shoots out the line for his first try. The second one is Ellis Mee on an inside ball again, put into space. He's a very good player. He obviously got capped recently. But the big thing for me was Costello, half-time, drop kick in the 40, just gets back in the pocket. It's a drop kick, 17-7. And they start the second half really good, like they start the first half. And Plumtree scores straight after half-time, after Costello coming out around the back, just manages to offload to Murray, and then Plumtree, it's such a hard line. And there was also chances, I don't know if you boys saw the game, there was chances towards the end when Joe Roberts went through and ended up having a forward pass. And then there was another one when I think it was Blair Murray went through and ended up throwing to a Lions player. And you're just thinking, this isn't going to be it. The Lions are going to come back. But the moment for me was Fafita's footwork on his opposite number. Jared Kearns just stands him up. He is unbelievable athlete. Fafita stands him up,
Yeah.
goes around the outside, throws the ball inside to Johnny Williams, and that was the game. But look, Lions, they're out now. They're not going to qualify.
Shanks, they were your dark horses, big
They
man.
were. They lost to
5 or
Benetton
6
at
weeks
home.
ago.
They got nilled by Glasgow. They've had a bad
A
month.
couple of their outside backs haven't been playing consistently either. And one of them, did he sign as a medical joker somewhere else? Can't remember, a number of months back in France. Yeah, and then just their pack haven't got on top. They love to play this free flowing, fast attacking rugby, but if you turn up with a good plan, then you can do them. So fair play to the Scarlets. And what a turnaround from the last couple of years for the Scarlets. Huge credit.
Yeah.
Like, as you said, Shanks, like Peely's been under immense pressure. People have been calling for his head over the last season, and they've hung in there, and now they're reaping the rewards of good coaches. And obviously, he's got the players firing. So brilliant
Costello
to see.
was good, boys. Costello, he's back. And I'm not saying he's Wales's answer, but I think he's probably Scarlet's answer at 10.
I'd give a shout out to James Davis, Cubby, as well, because he's in charge of all people, the recruitment down there, and just and keeping people there. They've managed to keep hold of a load of their players. Fafita signed on, Lousy signed on. They're managing like Gad Davis. No one seems to be leaving at the moment. I think in other places you wouldn't be surprised if they're heading for the door and they're trying to find a different option.
Yeah.
But they brought in Ellis Mee. So yeah, I mean, if I'm a foreign player, you said it was with
Blair Murray, John,
Blair Murray,
exactly. As well. Yeah,
Loads
and then youngsters coming through like Max Page, Joe Roberts has performed really well.
Yeah, 100%. So I'm buzzing for that. I'm delighted for the Scarlets. Let's look at Lions. Sorry, just the Lions. Sharks,
Ospreys.
Yeah, nothing much really happened, boys. 14-3 half-time. There looked like a moment of brilliance from Kieran Hardy when he went down the blind side, but he knocked it on and he gave the most convincing performance of a try I've ever seen. It was so good. It was so good. And then it just went about to take the kick. They had a little check and he had knocked it on. But Sharks power. I mean, Esther Hazen scores a try, which is a little bit fortunate because the Ospreys are smashing them back and the ball goes down and Derry Lake just misses it. But they get a turnover ball. They put the ball up in the air. Keelan Giles, who I think's had a really good season, loses it in the air and Hooker ends up getting on the end of it. But, I mean, it's tough when you go to South Africa. There's no doubt about that. They gave a good show and they came back from 21-3 down. But players like Bortolisi, it was really good. Esther Hazen was good. Like all the big names turned up for the Sharks. And crossfield kick towards the end at 21-10. And Pimpy throws the offload. Bortolisi gets it. And that was the game then. But, I mean, they didn't run away with it. The Scarlets stayed in the fight. Osprey stayed in the fight, but the Sharks were just too good.
Too good. Well, I'll ask you maybe then. I was going to say I've got a feeling Sharks might win the league, lads, which would pain me.
Oh, chance, lads!
I'm just saying they just got to win with the team they have. 3 games or 4 games in a row, whatever it is now. I'm not putting it past them. I'm just saying.
So who have they got? They got the Scarlets. So there's a good chance they get a bonus point victory against. Yeah, maybe John.
They'll finish in 3rd, and then I think
they got the players. They have got the players to win.
100%. And then whether they end up playing the Bulls because they're going to finish ahead of Glasgow, it looks like, so they could end up staying in South Africa. I'm telling you, don't rule them out, lads. Just quickly before we get on to the Stormers 48, Dragons 12, we've got a stat that came in and said for the Dragons need to get 1 point versus the Bulls to avoid equaling the worst ever season in the competition's history. I'm not laughing. Why are you laughing, Shanks? Zebre in 21-22 got 9 points. Dragons are currently on 9. To give you an idea, the next team is Zebre on 29. So it's not looking great.
Well, every year, the issue we got with the Dragons every year is that come the end of the season, they end up down the bottom, and then you think, right, well, they've signed Fafita, they signed a load of new players. Lloyd Evans signed at 10. Harry Wilson in the centre. There's all these players. There was a Tongan international who was meant to come as well, but he hasn't been fit or played. And you just think, well, this seems better than what's already there. And then when it comes down to it, yeah, you win the first game, and then you have chances against the Sharks, and the Sharks win it right at the end, and they have issues with like 4 or 5 games where they're leading with the last 10 minutes to go, and they end up losing, and it just becomes a habit. And there's no confidence there at all. Like
Shanks, are the rumours true that they are financially in a better position than some of the other regions?
Yes, that's true, Stevie. Yeah, they are, because they've got 3 owners who really want to invest into the club. So they have, but I suppose it's just how much they want to spend at the moment. They're in a good financial position, but you can't have season after season like this. There's got to be a point at some stage where you start winning and you start getting not top table, but just mid-table, and you start winning more than 50, 60% of your home games. So at least that becomes a fortress and fans start backing you. And I feel sorry for him. I just hope next season's better. It has to be better, because losing to the Stormers 48-12, I mean,
mate, they could win no games next year. It could be
worse. Well, I can't really see that. But they outscored 7 tries to 2. There wasn't really much to talk about in that game. Again, Sasham, Gomezulu, Feinberg and Gomezulu look really good. I think Willemse scored a couple of tries, 1 or maybe 2. I think his best position is probably 12. Yeah. Slimane at 13 looked big and powerful. Back 3 is a wicked back 3, and again, another team you look at that when they fire on all cylinders could easily win it.
Yeah.
Agree. Well, last game, Leinster 76, Zebre 5.
What a game to start Geordie Barrett. That's all I'm saying.
Just gonna say, you took the words out of my mouth. Wasn't good enough to play in the semi-final. But
didn't even get long in the semi-final.
We need him for Zebre. I mean, come on.
Save him for the big one.
For Zebre. I mean, come on to God, man.
Well, what do you think, lads? Do you think that Leo Cullen and the rest of his coaching staff will be Thran and start with Robbie Henshaw and Gary Ringrose in a URC semi-final or final? Or do you think they now have to cut their cloth and try as hard as they can to put their best players first?
Whatever the Irish Union say,
what do you think?
Do.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think you're right, Shanks.
Yeah,
I genuinely think you're right. Like I've heard reports saying, like, if James Ryan and Big Joe McCarthy are fully fit, RG Snyman doesn't start.
There's no way you wouldn't start with Geordie Barrett in a semi-final against Northampton. No way, unless you're told you can't, because he was the Rolls Royce, the Ferrari, all the supercars.
The talk in that game was about the fact that they'd almost lost to Northampton, and they fell off, didn't they? The previous year in the semi-final.
Yeah.
They needed a big, powerful bench coming on, but I'm like, Steve, he's got to start. I mean, he's been here for 6 months. Otherwise, what's the point? What is the point of getting Geordie Barrett here to play against Zebre?
No,
I don't think so.
And the pressure's on Steve, isn't it? Because of silverware.
Yeah. Oh, lads, the Irish media over here are having an absolute field day. Like it is. It's getting crazy. It's going mental. But during the game, like I thought Jack Conan was man of the match. To be honest with you, I thought he was unbelievable. Played the full 80 minutes. But when you look through the stats, I've just got a few in front of me here. Meters made by the players, like Jack Conan 140 meters made, Barrett 65, Ringrose 65, O'Brien 85, Osborne 115. Like the boys were just running with the ball and running into space every time they touched it. It was like just men against boys. It was, and that's not a good look for the league. We don't want that to happen. And Leinster played really well, and Zebre just didn't turn up. It's like they were beaten before they even got off the coach. But in fairness to Zebre, they have fronted up a lot of times this season, and we probably seen that not as high as that scoreline, but a few more of those scorelines last year and the year before with Zebre. And maybe it's another wake up call that not to get ahead of themselves, but. Yeah, the big talking point now is team selection moving forward into the URC, because I actually think the URC is more important than the Champions Cup for Leinster, because they put all their eggs into this Champions Cup basket. It has to be the Champions Cup, Well, why don't you put all your eggs into the URC basket? And then if and when you win that, then the Champions Cup can look after itself. And I know it comes slightly before the URC, but they're sort of planning throughout the season to peak at the Champions Cup. And it hasn't worked over the last couple of years. They've brought in Jackson Nienaber, they've brought in other coaches, have mixed it up. What do you call the backs coach at Blendal as well? They've obviously been playing at the Aviva Stadium, playing at Croke Park, playing all around the place. Their fans are traveling in their tens of thousands to support them, and it's now becoming a bit of a laughing stock. And I take a little bit of pleasure in it, as do Munster fans and Connacht fans, and Simon Zebre, of course.
How good was that?
But I do. There is a part of me that feels sorry for them too, because it's almost like the harder they tried at times in that game against Northampton, the worse it got, and they just weren't accurate enough. I can run through the whole game again, but anyway,
Stevie,
they're back on the horse.
Can I ask you a question?
Yep.
Do you reckon the Irish Rugby Football Union will relax the rules a little bit between now and the final? Because there has to be some unwritten rule that you can't play Geordie Barrett or RG Snyman, even though we don't know it and it's never really been announced. Do you think now the pressure's massively on and everyone's getting onto the back of Leinster now because of budgets, because of, they get the pick of the crop really that comes through, and no silverware for a long, long time? Do you think the union might say, well, look, we know the pressure's on, you go out, you pick your best team, we'll support you?
I'm not sure. Like David Humphreys is the guy in charge. Obviously, Nusafora's moved over to Scotland.
No chance.
Of the high performance lines. Yeah, but like people prided themselves on, like, all other countries looked at Ireland and were like, okay, we gotta copy what they're doing. We were at the top of the tree. Every country around the world was sending people over to go in and see how the actual whole thing was operating, and how to get the best out of coaches and all the backroom staff and everything else. But if you look at the last 12 months, Ireland finished third in the Six Nations. They finished second bottom in the Irish under-20s. Currently, with two sides out of Champions Cup rugby. The women's game, the women aren't that good. The Sevens program is apparently going to be completely binned off. And lo and behold, they were in the Olympics playing against New Zealand and should have won that game, and probably should have went on to be in an Olympic final. That's now been taken away. Coaches are now part-time with the Irish under-20s. Budgets are being tightened up. So, like, how can you be this, creme de la creme, everybody wants to be you, to dropping off so dramatically within the space of a year? Like, how does that happen?
Yeah, I don't know with the stuff with, certainly when you look at when RG Snyman was signed, like, that was like, he's the missing piece of the jigsaw. You look at the games they've lost against La Rochelle, against Toulouse, he was the guy they needed.
Yeah.
That's the kind of our outwards looking in. I don't know what the rules are, but I'm like, if you sign someone like that, why are they not playing the big games like Geordie Barrett? I don't know. I think it's
word on the street is they're going to sign Henry Pollock now.
Last point on this: if you're Robbie Henshaw and somebody goes down with an injury that's been selected for the Lions, and you aren't playing in these next 3 games, and if you play really well in these next 3 or 4 games, then you throw yourself into the mixer for possibly getting on the flight to go to the Lions. So if the IRFU are playing Geordie Barrett ahead of Robbie Henshaw, they're effectively blocking his chances of getting on to a British and Irish Lions tour.
But then you don't necessarily, I mean, yeah, I agree, but then equally some guys, it's not great compared. Like Sione, hasn't played. So, but Robbie Henshaw, maybe a different situation, probably needs to play well to in these games. He didn't play all Six Nations games. Anyway, lads, we could spend an hour talking about that.
Yeah.
URC Unloaded Player of the Round. Any suggestions?
I think it has to be for Scarlets player beating the Lions away.
Yeah, Blair Murray.
Yeah, fair enough.
And Blair Murray scored 2 tries and was player of the match. He was the BKT URC player of the match. So I'm championing him. Do you all agree?
All agree. That was easy.
We're getting on really well today, guys.
I know. Rants of the week. I've got one.
Ooh,
let's hear it, John.
Just spend a lot of time in airports at the moment, and it's these security. Is it me, or is there different rules at every airport at the minute when you go through security? And the audacity of these people to get arsey with you when you ask a question. Do I have to take my liquids out? They're like, oh, yeah. I said, oh, do I need to put in the bag? And they're like rolling your eyes. Yeah, like, guys, I know you don't like your job, but it's different. It's different on the way out as it is on the way in, lads. Driving me wild. Belts off, jackets off, shoes off, pants off. I don't know what the rules are anymore. So
take pants off to you, mate.
Pants off, pants on your head, mate. Get it out. I don't know. Anyway, I had to get off my chest. That felt quite good. Shanks, you normally have one.
Well, pay extra for speedy board, and then you got to get on a bus to get to your plane, and then you got to get off your plane onto a bus. You think, well, I paid all this money, and then you got to try and Then you got to try and guess what door. Then you got to try and guess what door is going to open first.
Yeah.
So which way you're pulling into the airport. So you want to stand by the door, because if you stand on the wrong door, then you're the last one off.
No, I'm laughing at the exact same thought. Are we going to get off?
It just annoys the hell out of me.
Back of the bus or front of the bus? Which side? Which doors are going to open? Yeah.
Yeah. I end up going, if I get off the front of the plane, I'll go to whatever bus is facing forward, whether it's on the back steps. I'll walk to there, and then I'll put my head in through the window and say, excuse me, mate, can you tell me which side we're getting off?
No, you don't.
What's a male equivalent of a Karen? I reckon I'm that.
I'm telling you, lad, this is a sign that it's the end of the season, lads. End of the season. We're all a bit tired of traveling.
All right, just quickly, right after this, right, I've got to take my daughter. She's got to do for PE. She's got to do a bleep test.
Oh no!
And I'm just wondering whether I do it. I'm just wondering whether I do it with her or not.
Mate,
see how far I can get.
Torn cash.
Level 4.
Mate,
I have a rant. Sorry, lads, I have a quick one, and you can relate to this, John, because you have one. So this beautiful weather is obviously great, but I was driving my Tesla 2 days ago, and just looked at the screen, John, to put the fan up in the old air conditioning, and front left alloy, boom.
Oh no.
Absolutely wrecked. So it's just one of those ones where when you get a new car, you're like starting to Google places to get it fixed, and now I'm just like, what am I doing? Just leave it. It'll be grand. Just hand it back in 3 years. It'll be fine.
What about this, boys? Trimby, we know, like, he came from Ireland on a ferry to Birmingham to pick up a car. I think he picked up an electric car in Birmingham, drove down to Newport, did the Newport game, drove back to Birmingham or somewhere else, got the ferry back to Ireland just to pick up a new car.
He's off his head, mate. Did he not end up in some boat in Glasgow one day when he landed at the airport?
Yeah, sure. He landed at the airport and was like, got his Google Maps out and was like, okay, I have 5 hours until kickoff. What should I do? So he just decides to walk from the airport to Scotstoun Stadium. Like along dual carriageways and stuff.
Like Alan Partridge.
And those shit white trainers.
He's off his head, lads.
He's off his nut. He's
off his nut. We'll look ahead. Because that's all that really matters, isn't it? Just before we start, have a little bit of thoughts of who your favourites are. We'll get to the end for that. Who's going to take the title, and then we'll see who's right. Friday night, Stormers versus Cardiff in Cape Town.
Stormers. I don't know if Cardiff will have enough to get a bonus point. Just one. I think the Stormers will. It's business end now. They'll want to try and finish Well, they can't finish fourth, can they?
Fourth. Last home game of the season. So
yeah,
that's them. Yeah, I'm going to go Stormers.
Yeah, they'll end up. It depends where they go. It's hard to know because they could end up playing, depending on how Glasgow and Sharks finish up. They could end up with, being fifth, not bad. They could end up playing the Sharks, no travel, all that sort of stuff. Edinburgh, Ulster. I don't know this one.
Yeah.
I have no idea, lads.
No idea.
Edinburgh.
Yeah, I have to back Edinburgh.
I thought they were much better than they were against Bath. They played Bath in the semi-final.
Shocking
and they didn't really
against
do
Bath.
too much at all. And I thought they actually, even though the quality of the game wasn't great, I thought they bounced back pretty well.
Yeah, it's supposed to be good weather again this week, John. Is it up in Bonnie, Scotland? It's supposed to be good weather all week. Yeah.
Not that that'll make a difference to these two teams. Doesn't make much of a difference. I don't know. Tuipulotu went off. Oh, have I gone?
Yeah, he did. No, you're here, John.
He broke his leg. So I think he broke his leg anyway. So I don't know who's James Lang's injured. So they might. That's the position where they struggled all year. Like it's been the same for a couple of years. Who's their inside centre? Who's their outside centre? So I'm going to back Edinburgh because they've got something to play for, and I hope they finish with a win because it's been a pretty rocky season for Edinburgh, and they should be doing better. Munster against Benetton. Obviously.
Well, these will be hoping Ulster win, both of these teams.
Yeah.
Because if Edinburgh win, one of those I don't think is going through.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, Benetton made things a bit tricky for themselves, better for themselves last week with the performance, but Munster, I think Benetton.
I'm going Munster.
It's in Cork as well, lads. It's not in Limerick. Benetton are on 46 points. I think Benetton are going to get something out of the game and creep in.
But even if they get something out of the game, that might not be enough if Edinburgh win. Yeah, tough.
Benetton are going to score some tries because I don't think Munster's defense is great. So even like
these last results have been so bizarre. These last couple of rounds of URC, like it's been so difficult to predict because nothing's gone to plan. It's been brilliant.
Mm-hmm. No, it has been. Well, on Saturday we can almost skip past the first one: Bulls versus Dragons. Mate, I'm not being. I mean, they're going to end up with the worst record.
No, you're not. You're not at all. You're not at all.
I'm not being harsh. Like they're playing.
I just feel sorry for them. They're just desperate for a win.
Yeah, I do.
And that's with the Bulls.
That's the last. Yeah, you ain't. If you win your first game of the season, then go another 16. You ain't winning the last one, lads. I'm sorry.
No,
I've been proven wrong many times before. I'd almost put my mortgage if I had one on that, but definitely I've got one. Trust me.
Wish my nan gave me a house as well, mate.
No, I'm shitting myself. Interest rates are going up shortly. Lions versus Ospreys. Again, that's probably the only dead rub of the week. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, Ospreys.
Doesn't matter.
I only go Ospreys.
Yeah,
I think Lions are gone completely now.
Do you think the Ospreys will rest Jack Morgan?
I think yes, it's probably the right thing to do because yeah, I injured myself.
Yeah.
I don't know if I mentioned the last game I had to play for Cardiff after I was selected. Didn't make the tour, so
yeah.
I don't know if I mentioned that
a couple times.
It's going to be captain.
Zebre Connacht again, a bit of a nothing game. I'm going to say Zebre going to finish on a high.
I'm going to say Zebre.
Zebre in as well.
I'm just disappointed.
What about Pete Wilkins, by the way, lads?
I know.
What about Pete Wilkins? Now going to be Benetton head coach next season, and I know
what's Portalani off to? Where's he going?
I have no idea.
I haven't read. Like as soon as I saw that, I thought, "Ooh, big team. Maybe a Gallagher Premiership, or would he go to an international team?" But I can't find any information on it.
Lifestyle.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Lifestyle. He's the new attack coach. Apparently, producer Ben's just put on the group.
Oh, sorry, attack coach.
I just wish Zebre. It feels harsh that they're going to go from 0 wins last year or 1 win 0 last year.
I think the year before, I think
to 5 or 6 wins and still finish 15th.
Yeah, it's incredible.
A little harsh, but there's progress there for Zebre for sure.
Golden blocks, yeah.
Shoots. Big one for me. Probably one of the big ones of the weekend is Sharks versus Scarlets.
I'm going Scarlets.
I'm going Sharks, but Scarlets to get a point because I think they'll either finish within 7 or get 4. So points taken to 49.
Who am I?
Which I think then they'll probably either get then Leinster or the Bulls, depending on where they finish. Yay.
JB, every time you back the Sharks, they lose.
That's maybe what I'm doing.
So back the Sharks.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, yeah, they could.
What about the big one, Leinster Glasgow? Are we all on that? Are we working together?
I'm not. I'm in Edinburgh on Friday night.
Yeah, I'm over. I'm down. I'm on Edinburgh Friday night, and then flying to Dublin Saturday. So
perfect.
Double jobbing.
Big
I'll
weekend.
see you there.
I've been in Dublin a lot weekend, but that's going to be Leinster.
Yeah.
Yeah, Leinster by 20.
Yeah. Yep. What was I going to say, lads? Who's your pick to win it this year? Go on, give us your
Leinster.
Oh,
Yeah.
Leinster. Stevie?
Home draw all the way.
Oh,
Barrett starts.
I'm gonna. Why not? It's been a dreadful couple of years for Leinster, so why is the pain going to stop now? So I'm going to go for Bulls.
I'm going to say the Bulls as well, Stevie. The Bulls or the Sharks. That's my my 2-4.
I like the Stormers as well, lads. I think the Stormers are playing some ridiculously good rugby at the minute. They're peaking at the right time. They've got a great head coach. Yeah.
I mean, you say that there's probably I mean, to be fair, that is a lot. 5 could, you wouldn't be surprised if things just get hot at this time. That you just win a couple games. So
same every year, though. To be honest, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're the top 4 or 5, and on their day, they can all win it because they've got quality players.
Well, that's what the South African teams have brought in. We always say every year. I mean, mid-season we're saying Stormers are playing rubbish, they're crap. Sharks they're a shambles. They're sitting in 4th and 5th, and they could quite easily end up winning the whole thing.
Yeah.
Lads, that's it. Stevie, you've had your barbecue. I've had mine. Shanks, you've got Mackie D's for breakfast.
Bleep test. Beep.
I've got bleep test. Beep. Start of level 3.
Oh, don't. Go and get bleep test on, lads, and we will. Stevie, I'll see you Friday.
Cheers, lads.
Cheers, lads.